Hello again, my fellow Jeti users. Welcome back to my workshop and another of Harry's Jeti clinics. And have I got an absolute treat for you in this one? This is the Jeti Assist Receiver Automatic Mode Switching Episode 6, in which I think we've got the best setup yet by a long way, and probably the best setup there can be. And for this, I have to thank Michael Pilla. Hello, Michael. He sent me a message on RC Groups detailing how to do this, and it's an absolute beauty. What it does is it puts the automatic mode switching on a 2-position on-off switch, and when you select automatic mode switching off, the 3-position switch is able to select all 3 of the gyro modes. So that's gyro mode 1, mode 2, and mode 3. Up until now, all we've been able to do is select various combinations of offs and gyro modes 1 and 3, but gyro mode 2 was not available to us. In Michael's solution, gyro mode 2 becomes available to us and the full power of the assist can be exploited. I love this one. I've been out and I've flight tested it with gyro mode 2 being the horizon mode, which is a very interesting little mode. And I might do a video just about that alone, because it's a most useful little tool actually for trimming a plane. Anyway, why should you bother about getting gyro mode 2 if you've got the automatic switching? Well, it opens up a lot of good new possibilities. For example, if you are doing mode switching between the heading mode and normal mode with, for instance, the nose wheel steering is switched off from stabilization in both of those modes, but you might want it available in takeoff. So mode 2 could be, for instance, your normal mode with stabilization of the nose wheel steering switched on. And then once you come up, you could set it, for instance, just to, when you raise the gears, for example, or manually, you change over to the automatic mode switching. Or another place would be if you have a model with thrust vectoring, and in some instances, like when you're trying to hover, you want heading mode to act on the thrust vectoring servos. But when you come out of the hover, you want to move to a gyro mode where the stabilization is still heading mode, but not stabilizing the thrust vectoring. So you could have the modes 1 and 3 being your heading mode and normal mode with no stabilization of the thrust vectoring. And mode 2, which you would switch to when you switch off the automatic mode, mode 2 would be a heading mode with stabilization of the thrust vectoring. So that's great. As you come up to the hover, you switch off the automatic mode switching, have your 3-position switch in gyro mode 2, now gives you stabilization of the thrust vectoring. And then as you accelerate away from your hover, you switch the automatic mode back on and boom, you've got rid of the stabilization of the thrust vectoring. So this is a lovely program. I really enjoy it. Let's have a look at the logic of it. If you've just arrived here, by the way, and wonder what on earth this is about, please go and find episode 1 of this series, because that's where it's all set up. So we have the standard that we've got for all of them, the first 2 OR switches taking in the sticks. Then we come down to logic switch 3, which takes its input from logic switch 2, the automatic mode switching, and a 2-position switch. And we assign the 2-position switch using the on position, take the output from the OR, and we put it into what we really want is a not and switch. But Jeti doesn't have not and or not or switches. So what we do is we make it an and switch, and where we need it to behave as a not and, we reverse the input as it arrives in the next switch. Yeah. Now that 2-position switch, also assigned with the on position, goes into logic switch 4, which is an OR switch, which also takes the 3-position switch we use for our gyro modes, set as a proportional not just a 3-point switch, but proportional, and then in the logic switch as linear. And these two then feed in to the final AND switch, and the output from that as it arrives here must be set in the input to the AND again as proportional linear, otherwise it won't work. It'll just recognize on-offs. Finally, that leaves us with an output that we assign to the gyro mode function. Okay, so we'll take a look at all of that. So what happens is, if you're interested, when the two position switch is on, then this input to the OR switch is on, which forces the output to be on, and therefore it doesn't matter what you're doing with the 3-position switch, the output of this is locked on. So the AND has got one of its switches in the on position. Also, when that's on, then one of the inputs to this AND switch is on. The other input is toggling on and off, of course, as you're moving the sticks. So the output from this is toggling on and off. So with this one on and this one toggling on and off, the output goes on and off, and there we have the gyro mode switching. The fact that it's reversed here won't really affect the on and off, it just gives it a different version. So what would be gyro mode 1 becomes gyro mode 3, and 3 becomes 1, etc. The reason it's reversed will become clear in a moment. If you switch your automatic mode selector to off, first of all, this input goes off, so the output's going to depend entirely what's going on here. And because we've got proportional linear switch, it can go from off to 0 to on. So we now have the 3-position output coming here. And although an AND switch, in theory, should just be an on or an off, Jeti allows it to recognize, because we set the inputs, the fact that it's an off, 0, and on. Meanwhile, this one's also off. Because that's off, doesn't matter what's happening with the mode switching from the sticks here, the output of this will be off. It's guaranteed because that's off. But we've reversed it going into here, which means it's arriving in this AND switch as an on. So that input's on, that input is going from, I said it was off, 0, on, it's not really, it is going from -100, 0, plus 100 with an on, so the output here goes -100, 0, 100. Okay, there we are. So L1, L2, L3, L4, L5, I didn't mark it, L5,
Inactivity alarm.
and then off to the mode function. So let's look at building it. Rightio. Now, off we go into Advanced Properties, Logical Switches. To save us time, I've already built the first two because they are the mode switching functions that have been there right since episode 1 of this series. So let's build Logic Switch 3, which would be the NAND or not AND switch, but we have to make it as an AND. Okay, so go in here and down we come. Control 1 is the output from the sticks mode switching, which was Logic Switch 2. And Control 2 is the 2-position switch. I'm going to use this one here in the on position. So we start with it off, open that, move it to the on position, say OK. And the condition is AND. There we go. So that's now giving us a nice little output there. If the automatic mode switching is switched on, as it is, then the output is going to toggle as I move the sticks. So there's where we get our mode switching. If I switch the automatic mode switching off, then the fact that that's off just guarantees the output is locked in the off position. Doesn't matter, as I move the sticks, you can see L2 is going on, the output's off. Okie dokie, that's that one done. Next, Logic Switch 4 and Logic Switch 4. We'll just jump back and have a look at it here. It's that one. It's that OR switch. Again, with the 2-position switch assigned to on and using our 3-position switch, proportional linear. So let's have a look at how we do that. So control 1, again, it's the automatic mode switching switch. Start in the off position, move it on, so it's assigned it as on. Control 2 now is going to be my 3-position mode selection switch. Doesn't matter what I do there. Very importantly, change it to proportional. Yeah, so OK to that. Then come along here and change its type to linear. OK, come down, and it was an OR switch. Now, very importantly, the fact that the automatic mode switching is switched on forces the OR output to 100%. So nothing I do with control 2, which is my 3-position switch, will change that. See, it's locked it. So that's what we want. When the automatic mode switching is on, the 3-position switch has no effect. But if I switch the automatic mode switching off, then the output will follow wherever switch A, the 3-position switch, is. Watch this. There it is in the middle. Now as I move the 3-position switch, watch the output, minus 100, 0, plus 100. So now we've got a 3-position output there. This is going well. Pardon me. And finally, we tie them all together in logic switch 5. Let's have a look. Remind ourselves what that is. Logic switch 5, here we are. It's an AND switch. We're taking the L3, but reversing it, and we're taking L4, but we need to set the input as proportional linear, just like we set that input as proportional linear, and AND. Okay, let's work our way through that. So, control 1 is logic switch 3, but reverse it. This is how we make it. This is how we make logic switch 5 think that logic switch 3 is a not AND. So there we go. Done. And come down, control 2 now is logic switch 4. Don't accept it like this. We need it to be proportional. Say OK to that. It needs to have a center as well. So say OK to that. And now move along here and change it to linear. And there we go. So that logic switch 4 with the automatic mode switching in the off position, the output will now go, oh, it won't because I need to set the condition, silly me, and there we are. Now with the condition set, the output changes minus 100, 0, plus 100. So we now have a proper 3-position output. But if I switch automatic mode switching on, it's locked at 100. Nothing I do with the 3-position switch will change it. It should now respond to me moving the sticks. So if I move the sticks, it should jump to minus 100. There we go. Tiny movement of the stick and it jumps to minus 100. If I switch the automatic mode switching off, it should no longer respond to the sticks. I'm moving the sticks, nothing happening. And that's true of any of the 3 gyro modes we select. It's locked in those, and moving the sticks doesn't change it. So there we are. That's got all of that done. How do we use this now? Say OK to that. Well, we go back to our function assignment. And as you can see, I've already created a gyro mode function. Go in there and we tell it to use logic switch 5. And if we move the 3-position controller, we can see it moving around. This is good. We switch the automatic mode switching on, good, and move the sticks, and it just jumps between the 2 ends. This is looking excellent. And we will, in effect, see the same thing in servo receiver outputs. Where were we? There, 5. So servo 5. Automatic mode switching's off, and the 3-position switch has control over the output. Automatic and sticks have no effect. Automatic mode switching on. The 3-position switch has no effect, and moving the sticks has all the effect we want. It's okay to that. So now it's time to get the gyro itself set up. So go into Model, Device Explorer, into your assist receiver, into Configuration. We need to tell it which channel we're using as the flight mode. So we go into here, and with the mode switching off, it should recognize it moving the 3-position switch. It does. As you can see, it's picked up channel 5, and it's moving now from gyro mode 1 to 3. Good. Say OK to that. Then finally, we can assign our modes around. And here we are. So it's active mode 2 at the moment. If I switch the automatic mode switching on, it's gone to active mode 3. With the sticks at neutral and auto mode on, it needs to be in heading mode. So it's using active mode 3. Mode 3 you can see I've set as the heading mode. If I move this stick, it should jump to active mode 1. There we go. Active mode 1 is the normal damping mode, so that's good. Now if I switch the automatic mode off, it will now move with the switch. So I can move active mode 1 is normal, active mode 2 is whatever you've set in mode 2, and active mode 3 our heading mode. Okie doke. So there you go. And it all works very beautifully. So huge thanks to Michael Pillar for that. I think it's an excellent program, and enjoy using it.